Becky Sue Epstein's joining us today from Cognac. Becky Sue Epstein, author, international wine, spirits, food, and travel editor. Oh, I bet this is a good time to be in Cognac, a good time of year. And as you just mentioned, Becky Sue, there is a festival every evening of music?
Yes, it's called the Cognac Blues Passion, and they have internationally known blues people from all over the world here. They play from, I think, about 10 at night till 1 in the morning, and tonight, Sting goes on at midnight.
Oh, my gosh! I tried a year ago, maybe it was a year and a half ago, to request an interview with him and his wife regarding their wine, their Tuscan wine organic that they were going to launch in the United States. And I think they held back on that launch. I don't know if it started, but you lucky, lucky, lucky woman.
Yeah, all I have to do is stay up.
And what time do you start in the morning?
We were out early today. We left at 8:30, so I'm a little tired. We went to see a cooperage where they make all the barrels in Cognac for cognacs. They make them right here.
Wow!
So that was really fun because I mean, how many times do you get to see barrels made?
Yeah.
So they age the wood for years, and then they put them together, and then they toast. You ever heard of them toasting barrels? Well, they toasted a barrel while we were there, so we could smell the before and after. And so that was really interesting.
Did they invite anybody in your group to request the level of toast, so to speak?
They're not going to waste a 600 to 900 euro barrel on us.
Oh, my God. Did they tell you? Well, of course, and I would imagine they probably do custom orders. Different cognac houses have different requests for toasting.
Oh, yes, definitely. We've been talking to them. Some places only like light toast. Some places only like medium toast. And, if they're a huge house, cognac house, and they do a large order, they get a discount. If they're smaller, they have to pay full price.
Okay.
It's business. There's a whole bunch of cooperages here, and everyone can request the type of grain they want, whether it's fine grain, close grain, or looser grain, and then it depends whether they put it in a humid cellar or a dry cellar, because they have both cellars here, and they apparently move the cognac around depending on how it's developing, because there's a river nearby, so and there's a lot of wetlands, and so they can move their cognacs from humid to dry and dry to humid depending on what flavors and aromas they want to develop. And but they just move the cognac. They don't move the barrels. They just pump them around.
And so I would imagine that the humidity level is different at different times of year, and also, I don't know what's going on weather-wise right now. Are you experiencing warmer than usual weather like we are in the East Coast here?
Nope, it's cooler than usual.
Really?
It's probably good because we've been outside a lot, and it actually rained a little bit. But it's much more comfortable to hang out outside and walk through things when it's 70 and cloudy. Than
definitely.
I think the last time I was here it was 85 and 100% humidity, there's not much you can do with that.
Yeah.
All places are not air conditioned, though more and more are.
Well, how about your hotel? Is that air conditioned?
Yeah, that one is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So have you had dinner?
I'm okay here.
Have you had dinner already today? Or?
No, we'll eat at 8 o'clock, and then we'll probably wander over to the festival grounds, where you can buy everything from a banjo to a drink. And so, you can wander around, and there are different stages that are set up, and they're actually all over the town, especially in the center. I mean, you just walk by a cafe, and some band is set up playing blues, either in it, on it, near it, around it. It's kind of like your life has a soundtrack every evening. Oh. It's really wonderful.
And who the heck pays for all this? The city of Cognac?
The city of Cognac does. I mean, you have to pay to get into places. Like we have an all-access pass that you have to it goes around your wrist, and you have to take a shower with it for 4 days because you can't take it off.
It's like going in the hospital.
Yeah, only it's a little more decorative.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, I mean, every restaurant has they have a cognac menu, and they have special cognac drinks, and they have this wonderful dessert, which I haven't had yet. It's called Café Gourmand. It's coffee with a lot of little desserts, and like creme brulee and madeleines and ice cream, and then they serve a small glass or bottle of cognac with it. And there are chocolates and things like that. So it's very popular in France, apparently, for the last 5 years. It's called Café Gourmand. I think I'll have to see about getting them to make that in the States when I get back.
Yeah, definitely.
Usually by the end of a meal, you don't want dessert after. They have foie gras here, and they have, it's kind of country food. It's not super, rich or anything, but I've got to at least have one Café Gourmand before I leave.
And maybe post that with a column that you're going to be writing about your trip to Cognac?
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing a lot of work from my research from my brandy book, so I'm getting a lot of information about that. And even in my book, there'll be drink recipes, too. And I just found out that the Cognac long drink, which is in a small, narrow cylindrical glass, which 5 years ago the popular thing was Cognac and tonic, and now it's Cognac and ginger ale, and it's called the Horse's Neck, which has Cognac, Angostura bitters, and orange peel and ginger ale. So, fashions move.
How does it taste?
It tastes good. It tastes, it emphasizes the ginger more than just the sweetness. So, and they use like VS. They don't use a top quality cognacs.
Okay. And so is a spicier ginger ale better, or is it purely personal taste?
Well, I don't think they have a lot of options here, but I don't think they have a lot of artisanal sodas like we have in the U.S. at this moment in time. Okay.
And do they serve it with ice cubes?
Yes, there's plenty of ice here.
Oh, that's good.
I'm surprised, but there is. So it's been easy. I think they, usually it's a lot warmer this time of year, and they go through a lot more ice. So we've been able to have plenty. So we're doing okay here.
What is the most interesting thing you've learned on this trip? Totally new, besides the dessert and this new drink.
Well, I've been trying to get to the bottom of how cognac came into being. Okay, so we know that there were distillers that, in Greek time, that the Arabs brought it over to this part of Europe, and then it came north, probably through Armagnac into Cognac. And then when the Dutch were trading, this is kind of historical. The Dutch were trading, and they were bringing wines from Cognac up north, and the wines were, fairly not that fascinating white wines from this area. And the story is that the Dutch decided to distill wines so that they would have a little more oomph, and so that they would travel better, and then they would water them down when they got up to Holland and drink them that way. But one of the people I met today says he thinks that they weren't doing that at all. He thinks that the Dutch were just searching for new products, that they were actually making a distillate not to reconstitute, but just really purely, it was, in the early 1500s, there was a huge trade boom, and they were bringing things back from the New World. They were trying to source as many different products, the traders as many different products as they could, and he thinks it was just another different product that they invented, and it didn't have anything to do with reconstituting. So I think that's a really interesting theory, like they made something on purpose, not by accident, and that became cognac.
And what do you think that since you said, was Armagnac before? Was Armagnac a distillate before Cognac?
Yeah, they've been making Armagnac since 1200, but Armagnac is not on a river. It doesn't have access to, it doesn't have access to the sea the way Cognac does, and that's the main reason that Armagnac didn't take off.
Okay, I understand. That makes sense.
Trade routes.
Yeah.
All that stuff you learned in school, it was real.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. If you put it in real life application, then it all makes sense. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, so how much longer are you going to be in Cognac?
Just a couple more days. I'm going to get to go to the market tomorrow and see a couple more cognac makers and try to put all of this stuff together and see how it fits into the world. Cognac is changing an incredible amount just in the last 10, 12 years because the cocktail market's taken off in the U.S., and the high-end cognac drinking has taken off in China. So with these two new markets, cognac was really, toward the end of the 20th century, it was kind of one of those things that grandfathers maybe had a little bit of by the fire in a snifter.
Right.
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to have it in a snifter now because our rooms are so warm. We don't need to warm the glass. You're supposed to have it in a tulip glass if you're going to sip it straight, neat. And then when you make it into cocktails, I mean, just the amount of flavors and connections and the celebrity endorsements, I mean, it's a whole new world here.
Wow.
It's quite amazing. I mean, celebrity endorsements of cognacs, people are, a lot of musicians are blending their own or endorsing their own cognacs. And because it's kind of international stars, they've taken off more internationally, but from the U.S., whereas in France they don't drink that much cognac. Almost all of it is exported. But the cocktail culture is coming back to France a little bit because of the international music stars.
Oh, my heaven. Oh, how interesting. Well, and final note here. When do you think you will be publishing for release your book on brandy?
Well, my book on brandy is not going to be out for a while, but I'm going to be publishing some things in various magazines and on my blog and things, because there's just too much. There's so much that I'm learning. I can't just let it all sit by the wayside for a year. I have to take some bits of it and put it out. So, you just learn so much when you're doing this.
Oh, wow. Well, enjoy your concert this evening, and we thank you so very much for joining us today on Wine and Dine.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Hope to see you over here sometime soon.
Okay, bye-bye.